What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and I'm here to talk to you about the Elimination Chamber because, unfortunately, I do not have Kristen and Guapo here with me. You do see my pretty sexy face, so you know I am, in fact, alone. For those of you that have never seen me do the pay-per-view pick 'em before, basically the idea is you take all the matches, make all your predictions, rank your predictions by confidence, i.e., there's 7 matches, so whichever one you're most confident in gets 7 points, and all the way down to 1. Now, there's not going to be very much conversation because we're in these two sort of in-between pay-per-views before WrestleMania, so it's sort of by the numbers in a certain sense, and because I don't have my co-hosts with me tonight, there's not very much room for banter and conversation. So I'm gonna basically blitz through my picks. Some of them will have conversation, some of them won't. You guys can still toss your picks down in the box below as it is. Sorry it's a little bit of a different format this time around, and I'm sorry it's given out to you on a Friday instead of a Thursday. It's been that kind of week, so if you guys will bear with me, we will get through it. Buddy Murphy is taking on Akira Tozawa in the kickoff show, and I'm not going to lie, I don't really watch 205 Live anymore. Akira Tozawa is kind of Buddy Murphy's awesome as the champ. No reason to take it off him unless they're going to draft him up to the main roster after WrestleMania, but even if they do, doesn't mean he has to lose it here. If he does lose the title, I hope it's at WrestleMania against somebody bigger. Maybe they're going to do something with Mike Kanellis. I'm really not sure. Get Maria on the WrestleMania card. But yeah, I'd love to see Buddy Murphy either back on NXT doing some cool shit or come to the main roster to do something. So I got Murphy at 1. Is the end of that conversation. Strowman and Corbin are fighting in a no DQ match that nobody asked for and nobody really cares about. Pretty sure a lot of other people are going to get involved. You're going to get Angle in there. You're going to get McIntyre in there. McIntyre's going to be in there instead of having a match of his own, which is criminal in and of itself. Strowman's going to win. I got it at 5. I really could care less. Balor is taking on Bobby Lashley. Now, as much as I make fun of AEW, WWE has been trying to give us some things that we like. The idea that the Usos are going to be the champions once again, the finally put the belts on the Revival, etc. I really do think this is where they put the belt on Balor, because I think they want to have the belt on Balor, make us happy, make him happy, and have him go up against somebody else awesome at WrestleMania. If Seth Rollins wasn't going against Lesnar at Mania, I would say put these two in the match, give them a ladder, let them have a ladder match at WrestleMania. It'd be good. Balor, I got Balor winning at 4, and I'm going to predict right now, even though it's not part of my prediction, but I do predict Balor wins by pinning Lio Rush. Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley part ways. He gets his ass handed to him because he's small, but Lashley goes on, and he didn't technically lose the belt, so we're good in that regard. Usos are going to beat Shane and... Sorry, I got Balor at 4, if I didn't mention that. Usos are going to beat McMiz, and that's my pick at 3. I think McMiz is going to do something else at WrestleMania. I think this tag team championship thing that they're doing, it's a transitional thing. They needed to get it off the bar, and they didn't want to do another version of Bar versus Usos. Plus, they wanted to make it feel like Crown Jewel meant something. So if you like the tag team champions being Miz and Shane McMahon, just keep in mind that all came, that's all stemmed from Crown Jewel. Anyways, Usos are my picks at 3. I really don't think you can bury the Usos, and it goes back once again, same thing I said about Balor. They're trying to keep people as happy as they possibly can right now, even though AEW is a thing. I don't know. I'm going to do another video on all the AEW crap when I'm more awake and I've got more chance to get my thoughts together. The women's tag team titles is the big thing for this show, and it should be, and I wouldn't even mind it being the main event, I'm not going to lie. There's a problem with this match. There is a really big problem with this match. It's a really dangerous match, and you got Nia Jax and Tamina in there. If you want my detailed account of my thoughts on Nia Jax, I've done a video on the mounting body count of Nia Jax a couple of videos ago. Go check it out if you wish. But you got them in there that nobody cares about. You've got... Now I'm losing track of people. You've got Naomi and Carmella, who, I'm sorry, are only together because it's February, so we need to get Naomi on the pay-per-view card. That's all I'm going to do on that. I'm not going to go into a big rant on that. I've done it before. I don't need to. You've got 3 legitimate tag teams in there. The Iconics are a legitimate team. You've got Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan from the Riot Squad, who are part of a legitimate team. And you've got Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, who are not only criminally underutilized, but have been presented to us since they came to the main roster as a team. And then you've got Sasha Banks and Bayley, who have sort of been spearheading this thing, kayfabe-wise, and are probably the most popular people in the whole match. A lot of people want Sasha Banks and Bayley to win this. And you know what? As a fan, looking at it and saying, hey, there's Sasha Banks, there's Bayley, they're 2 people I like, I'd love for them to get that moment. And I'm sure it would be a feel-good thing, it would add to their credibility, etc. My only issue, and it's not really an issue, but my only difference of opinion with the WWE, I guess you could say, is that if you want to introduce tag team titles need to be a mid-card thing. And whether we realize it or not, the women's division in the WWE definitely has an upper card and a lower card. On the upper card, you've got your Ronda Rouseys, your Becky Lynches, your Charlottes, your Sasha Banks, your Baileys, your Asukas, and that's basically it. Everybody else is on the lower card. The Nikki Crosses, the Peyton Royces, the Liv Morgans, the Billie Kays, the Ruby Riots, the Ember Moons. Ember Moon is sort of a tweener between those two, but the idea is that they bring the tag division in. Not only is it a different kind of wrestling, but it also gives the mid-card wrestlers something to do. If you put those titles immediately on Sasha Banks and Bayley, you're eliminating that element. You've created one more title for those main eventers to go after, because who's going to take it off them? But you've also left those same mid-card women with still nothing to do. You've got all these belts that they can't really touch because people in the upper echelons of the division have them. So as much as I would love, and I really do think they're going to do something with Sasha Banks and Bayley and those titles at Mania, and that's another conversation for another day, it's not down to, is it going to be Sasha Banks and Bayley, or is it going to be these people or these people or these people? It's down to either they're going to put it on Sasha Banks and Bayley or they're not. Now, ideally, as much as this made people crazy when I did my fantasy booking, I would put it controversially on Nia Jax and Tamina, only to have them ripped off them by Sasha Banks and Bayley at WrestleMania in a huge WrestleMania moment, 4 Horsemen thing, the whole bit. But if I put that story aside, the teams that are actual teams need to pick up these belts at some point. And if it's not later on down the line, it should be right from the start. So you've got Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, you've got Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan, and you've got Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. Peyton Royce and Billie Kay are the tag team in this match. Not that I think they will win, not that I even think it's necessarily even on anybody's radar, and I'm not very confident in this pick whatsoever. But as much as the big names shouldn't win it, and as much as the dangerous ones shouldn't win it, as much as Naomi and Carmella are really not a team, and it's a bullshit political Naomi move, I'm probably wrong, but I'm putting in the Iconics at 2. Shoot me. And Daniel Bryan's going to hold on to his bullshit hemp belt in the other chamber at 6. I don't know what else to say. People are convinced that Daniel Bryan is this great new character, and I just think it's a little too close to home. It's a little too close to reality. Now, people say that about much more serious things. People say that about, you know, Jeff Hardy when they reference his drug addiction. They say it when they mention Roman Reigns and his unfortunate situation with the leukemia, which is terrible. And, you know, my opinion of Roman Reigns aside, I hope he's doing all right. I hear he's going to be in a movie with The Rock, which is awesome, doing the whole family thing. I do hope he comes back real soon. But when those types of things get mentioned, people say, oh, that's too close to the vest, that's too close to real life. And Daniel Bryan, to me, represents another thing that is way too preeminent in real life. It's these people, and I'm not really going to get into it, this isn't the proper platform for me to do it, but those people that, because they've got a good cause, they can justify anything that they do. Now, yeah, on the one hand, that's an excellent heel gimmick, but on the other hand, it's like, it's a bit much, and the hemp belt is tacky as hell. Daniel Bryan's an amazing wrestler. The comeback story of him coming back from all of his conditions and having to retire and whatever is still fantastic. I still got a lot of respect for the guy. Just what he's doing right now isn't great. The other sad story, obviously, going into this is the injury of Mustafa Ali, who's had almost a meteoric rise on SmackDown, showing what you can do coming up from 205 Live, and he's been replaced by Kofi Kingston, who had a phenomenal performance on SmackDown this week in that gauntlet match. Again, I like Kofi Kingston, but I'm sure that doesn't have anything to do with the fact that it's February. That being said, those two names, and I've tossed this out in a couple of other conversations. I've tossed it out on social media, and I might as well toss it out to you guys because we're already talking about fantasy booking and whatnot. We do have Fastlane after this, because we have that big long gap between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. I don't know about you guys, the long gap between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, it's getting to the point now, and I know it's because they do the open stadiums for WrestleMania now. They have to take into account, weather and climate and temperature and all that sort of thing. So I get why they do it. Don't get me wrong, but you keep extending that gap. Remember when WrestleMania was in like the middle of March? It was sort of the kickoff to the wrestling year, etc. And I get it, and it just feels to me like they're a little too far apart now. It's not necessarily that we do too much in between. I don't mind doing Chamber, I don't mind doing Fastlane, but just WrestleMania and the Rumble themselves, they feel too far away. But with that, we do have Fastlane between Chamber and Mania. What I would love to see, and I've said it a couple of different places already, as I say, I would love to have somebody like Kofi Kingston be the Iron Man in the Chamber match, sort of like they have the Iron Man within the Royal Rumble. I'd love to see them start acknowledging the Iron Man in the Elimination Chamber. Have him be the Iron Man and be the last one to lose. Brian taps him out at the end, or whatever the case may be. He comes out the next night and says, okay, first of all, I was the Iron Man in the Chamber. Second of all, in that gauntlet match, Daniel Bryan, I pinned you. He gets interrupted by Mustafa Ali. Ali says, hey man, in both those scenarios, you only got those accolades because you took my spot. You have Kofi Kingston versus Mustafa Ali at Fastlane for a #1 contender thing. It obviously gets fucked up by Bryan because he doesn't want to face either one of them. These three guys in a triple threat match at WrestleMania would be fucking fantastic, because you don't have to worry about it being the main event, because that's going to be Lesnar and Rollins and Becky and Ronda and all of them. So you can afford to have a I don't want to say a lesser match, but a more experimental match, a more test the waters type match for Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan, let's be real, is the guy to pull a match like that off against two wicked baby faces like Mustafa Ali, who's relatively new to the main roster, and Kofi Kingston, who is anything but new, but has the hearts and minds of all the fans behind him. That was a diatribe. That was a ramble. That is why I need co-hosts. But Daniel Bryan winning at 6. So to give it a quick rundown of what I've got, I got Murphy at 1, Strowman at 5, Balor at 4, Usos at 3, Ronda at 7, Iconics at 2, and Daniel Bryan retaining his title at 6. So guys, even though this has been a little shorter, even though there's been a lot less conversation in this video than you usually get out of a Pick'em video, I would like to say, please put your picks down in the box below like you normally do. Sorry for the length of this. As I say, we're still going to do the scorekeeping on Twitter on the night. We'll still do the winner, the announcements of the winner, and all that kind of thing. And we will be back to your regularly scheduled Pick'em format, hopefully by the time we get to Fastlane. Thank you for listening. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.